Oh man, my skin is looking rough. It's flaky. Hello, hello, top of the morning, evening, afternoon, and good night to one and all. What is today? Today is Thursday, May 8th, 11 o'clock in the morning. How is everybody doing? Oh, this is going to be a fun stream. I'm going to try to make this. I'm going to go back to the quick, abrupt streams because I just wanted to do this video. I was browsing the Facebooks this morning and I saw a sweet little number, and I was like, there is no way that this is real. Now, keep in mind that my social media is both left and right. I would say there's probably more right on my feed than there is more left. And I saw this, and I was like, what in the shit is this? I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know why it's there. But I have a lot of comments on it. Apparently, what we have here is an atrocious statue in New York City. And I want to read you this article and I'm going to give you my opinion on it. Now, keep in mind that this is not going to be for someone that is a little bit sensitive or is extremely left leaning, right? No matter how I do this, this is going to turn out bad. So let's just get into it. Times Square touts new statue of 12-foot tall black woman. Let me stop right there. Let me go to a different article. And let me pull up this one. This giant bronze statue of a woman was just installed in the middle of Times Square. Okay. Now I could pull up about 15 different articles on this. It's interesting how this goes. So if it was a general, would we label it a white general? No. We would just say general this, and whatever they are, that would be that. And if they were a professor, they would say doctor this. But interestingly enough, Fox, being on the right side, pulls this as a black woman, and on the left side, they pull it as a bronze statue. And what's interesting about this, let's go back to this article. Let me read this one. New York City Times Square installed a statue of a 12-foot tall black woman in casual clothing that its creator hopes would encourage people to reflect on greater cultural diversity. So let's slap a 12-foot Aunt Jemima in the middle of New York City. All right. New York-based Times Square Arts recently put up a new statue display titled Grounded in the Stars by Thomas J. Price, who's black, by the way, along with his Man series animated billboards, both of which are temporary but causing a stir online. The Times Square website states, Price's multi-channel presentation on the screens and sculptural installation on the plaza below forms a two-part takeover in Times Square that foregrounds the intrinsic value of the individual and amplifies traditionally marginalized bodies on a monumental scale. Okay, I'm over here. I got to rise this. Um, Times Square stands as an iconic symbol and a site of convergence, uniting people from all walks of life, individual stories and experiences intersecting on a global platform. The intention of my public work is to become part of the place they inhabit and its physical material history, as well as the visitors that pass through around the location, no matter how fleeting. Okay, so why would you do a black one? Why would you do black? Okay, let's move on. It's a bronze statue, right? That's what the other website says. Bronze statue. Why would you do black? Why wouldn't you do a black and a white person? Or why not a black and an Asian person? Or oh, I don't know, an Asian and a Russian. Why does it have to be black? And you might say, well, Jay, you're racist. No, the fuck I'm not. That's not the point. The point is that when I think of a statue, I think of symbolism, right? Okay, that is, or symbolism, I'm sorry. That is, wow, that guy, he conquered all of New Jersey. Wow, that guy invented the peanut. I think of things that are extraordinary. When I look at this 12-foot tall Aunt Jemima black woman right now, I don't think of either of those. What I think of is, let's put this here to make as much as controversy as much as possible. And then when we're done with that, we're going to leave that up for 30 days. Okay. All right. What? The statues of historic white men in Times Square are of Father Francis P. Duffy, the most decorated chaplain in Army history. Okay, served during World War One. That's nice. And the Spanish-American War, and playwright George M. I read that as George Carlin, but George M. Cohan, who composed iconic American works such your Grand Old Flag, and credited for laying the groundwork of Broadway as a center for performing arts. American statues and holidays have become a frequent source of controversy as progressives create new monuments while tearing down those figures of the past. Now, this is big, right? This is a big one. This is a doozy. Now, I get it. You're going to say this is a right-wing site, but this is accurate. You guys remember when they tore down General Lee and all of those other statues because you didn't like what at that time they stood for? Okay, if the idea is diversity and the idea is to be not all inclusive, is to accept others, why would you make a very specific standard? That's it. That's important here. If it was a black woman that was dressed in like the beads with the African hat and I don't know, like that the Jamaican colors. Hey, I would have no issues with that. What I do have an issue with is even if you put just a white dude up there wearing a backwards cap, an open flannel, looking like a GTA 5 character or Robert Van Winkle when he was Vanilla Ice, I might have an issue with that. Why? Because to me, that right there is cultural appropriation. That's what I get out of that. That's it. And I don't see how I get it. Art is all about what you see. Okay, uh when I see this, I don't think of, wow, you know, I want to be here. This is it. This is the place that I want to be, that I feel safe, right? I feel like why did you pick an obese black woman? Why couldn't it have been Halle Berry? Why couldn't it have been Nia Long? Why couldn't it have been a skinny black woman? Why did it have to be an obese one? Because if we put on, no, not Andre the Giant, that's a celebrity. If you put, I'm trying to think of just some random, if you just put a chubby old white guy, put 50 pounds on me, and put me in the center of Times Square on a statue, what would be your reason? What would be it? You would have none. Don't do it. I'm going to take up too much landscape, and I can't be 12 foot. I got to be 15 now because old girl is 12 foot. It just fascinates me that we're at a point where people want racism to go away, right? You want people, and in order for it to go away, you have to stop talking about it. But when you slap a statue that is in the middle of Times Square, okay, and it's a black person, why couldn't you have put two people that were 6 feet tall? Fuck it. Make it the black person on the bottom and a white person standing on their shoulders. You've been my weight for all these 400 years. It's time for me to get you off and make it animated where the white person just falls off, breaks his neck, and dies. That would not bother me. Like, oh shit, you're probably right. Okay, you got us. Right. This you can't do that. You're putting and I get it. You're gonna be like, wow, dude, you racist as shit. No, I'm not racist. I'm just making a point. I think that you putting this, you're trying to prove a point. The problem is neither me nor the person making this, not even society, can change the way that things are. That takes time. If you want to rip down statues of heroes, then is it wrong for me to rip down statues of a non-hero? I don't think so. I don't. I don't. The problem is when you have enough of left liberalists wanting to tear something down, well, they just do it and there's no repercussions. Obviously, Trump. I think Trump tried to change that. There are certain states that put a stand on it and said, okay, well, this guy being here, okay, we get it. You don't like what he did, but we are now United States of America. We're not Confederate States of America. So it doesn't matter who's up there. Shit, you want to put, it's like when they did that George Floyd. You want to put George Floyd in the middle of my hometown? I don't even see how that guy's a hero or a martyr, but That's one thing. I think you're gonna, and look at her pants. Look at her pants. What are those? What are those? Is that pleats? What is that? She even has cellulite. I got nothing. I got nothing.